Hi guys, and welcome to LightIt tutorial, where I will explain you how to use the script and all the little useful tips. First things about the UI, as you have noticed, there is 4 main tabs on the top. The first one is Studio, pretty simple. It's a kind of library shortcut to load the high quality Studio preset. Okay, there is a Workspace tab, which is the main space, okay, where you have all your buttons, your components, and the attribute panel too. The library one, which, as this name said, it's a browser manager, where there is pre-made preset for you, and user one. And a last one, the render, which is empty for now, which is normal because that's future features that will come on future updates. Okay, well, so start with the workspace. The workspace is divided into 3 parts. The first line, this line is a kind of toolbar line with icon for quick access, kind of shortcut to tool or to selection. You have then the what I call composant element, as you want, kind of bricks of element, where you have the backdrop, your light, your simple light, and other kind of lookdev elements. Okay, and on the right, attribute that will change on different selection components. We will come on this a bit later. First, I want to finish on the UI and load the first icon here, which is about setting. That will open you the LightIt setting pop-up, where you can configure a bit the script. Here you have UI scale. By default, it's set to medium, but you can change the size of all the icons to adapt to your resolution. Here, a little theme between Maya and this default dark one. Here, option about import, how you can import the asset here into the library by left click or double click if you don't want to misclick. One import is about load the studio when you are here. There is the option between import or open. By default, it's to import, which means if I have something into my scene, I click, that will import, the studio into my scene. You know what import means, of course, but the important thing between the both is it's better in terms of workflow design to set it to open the studio and import your model into the studio. Why? Because if you choose open, that will also open the render setting made for you. If you import into your scene, of course, the Arnold render setting will not be import, and that will be set by default on your scene render setting. Okay, so choose open will also import the well-dedicated setting, like for the car, where there is specific setting for the studio to work correctly, and the most optimized one for each scene. Okay, and clean favorite tabs. In library, you have a favorite tab if you want to clean and reset to blank one. When you save setting, okay, we'll save setting, that will close LightIt, which is normal because you have to manually relaunch it to take effect in count. Well, let's go back to Workspace. To finish about the UI setting, you have 2 icons here on the bottom to just choose between 2 display mode of the element icons here. Okay, let's start with the backdrop. For each element, you just click, and that will import the element into the scene. Everything in LightIt is designed for you, for the user, and the feeling of using things. So you just import your cyclo, and you see you can immediately with little arrow modify and set its size. When you select a LightIt component, you have access in the attribute panel, you see backdrop, to his dedicated setting. Here I see I have 2 bevel options. Okay, great. To configure it as I want. Perfect. I have a gray value for his shader. His shader is texture, so it's a subtle texture set for you, okay, to give a bit more of realism. And if you uncheck, you have a full gray one. Some option. Okay. Now, by default, it's import at the origin, of course. I can place anywhere. And if I choose another one, that automatically switch to the other one to help me to choose which one I want. I will go back here. Okay, because you can only have one lighted backdrop, so it automatically replaces the existing one. So let's go back to this one. Now let's look at light. I will choose this one. I will import the first light. Okay, the LightIt component LightIt import at the origin. Well, as I said, LightIt is designed to have a great feeling in Maya. Here, it's not really great. I have my element, but the viewport is not crazy. LightIt is also designed to give you a nice feeling and nice feedback into the viewport. So let's say set that with this button. This button will set up your new Maya scene at the best for you. I'm just click on it. That will switch on the light, the texture, the shadow, the anti-aliasing, everything is set correctly. Problem is now is great. My light have some lighting effect on the floor, but I don't see my scene anymore. I have to switch off. What I advise you is just to go to the library HDRI and import a simple HDRI like just this one. That will help you in first time to eliminate your scene. My HDRI, I have some attribute too, like intensity, exposure, sample. I will not go back to them. You know what these are. Rotation, of course. I will keep it like that, or maybe yes, okay. And you have the hide in viewport visibility to don't be disturbed anymore. Now, look, it's more pleasant. Okay. About my light. You see, it's a geometry, it's a complex rig. Okay. There is only one way to select light in LightIt is on the viewport. You select the light at the head. Okay, the area light. We can see the red in my Maya icon here. The problem is if I select my light, that will also select the backdrop, which is present everywhere, which is really boring when you work. It's why in backdrop there is one last option, which is avoid backdrop selection. So once all is okay, you place it whatever you want, just check that, and now you can't select it anymore. But let's say, okay, I would like to select it to change something. No problem. You have all those icons here, which are quick access to elements on your scene, to LightIt elements on your scene, which are unique. Like the HDRI, I will click on it and automatically that will select me and give me attribute from the HDRI sky dome we hide previously. So let's say I can, of course, continue to just rotate and hide it. Okay, that automatically select it. And same thing with this icon. I immediately access my backdrop if I want to continue to do something, uncheck or anything. Well, now once everything is set up, you see now it's pretty easy to select my light. My light, as you notice, have a locator, which is aim target for my light, and the main body selection. It's a rig, as you can see, a lookdev studio photo rig with modeling, texture, everything set for you. You can up, and when it's up at a certain limit, to don't have any problems, that just hide this if you want to make it a bit more on the top of your studio. One little note: when you move it, prefer to be on the world, okay, manipulator, because on object you will have some difficulty to sight. You see, that's a little buggy. It's a Maya problem, so just be sure to be on world, and this way you can place it without problem. So we have some setting, but before to go to setting, just look at other light importation option. because all is set automatically. You will see. If I don't have any light selected in my scene, that means when I will click, LightIt will import a new one, a new fresh one. Okay, I click. And yes, it import and selects for me automatically the light. I just have to move, okay? Every little detail. No light selected, import a new one. The new one is import and selected for you automatically. You just have to click and move, place your light, and it's okay. Now, if I have a light, one light selected, and I click onto a new one, it will replace at the same place with the same setting my existing light. If you want to switch mood from a light, a more spot or soft light, of course. And now that will replace my light. I am selected. Okay, I want more this one. I will scale it a bit. You understand. Great. Now we have those targets. Let's say I have one crazy modeling into my scene. Let's say this sphere. Here. It's a bit boring, of course, to set the target of each light into this. So what we do in the workflow is, before to import your light, if you want to be centric to an object, I advise you to use this icon, which will import and create for you what I call a master target. So I click, that create this little things, which is a kind of aim master target. So you place on your scene where you want to focus. Let's say, okay, of course I want to focus onto my object. And same thing, if you lose it, you just have to click on the icon to select this one. And now when I will create a new light, the target of the light will be automatically linked to the master target one. So each new light now target to this one. But what about my imported light? You can select them and click on link light target to focus target. You see, if I'm selected this one, it's already checked because it's automatically doing. But this one is not. So I just click on it. I'm selecting this one, click on it, and now I can select the master target and all my lights are linked to this. Okay. And you can, of course, uncheck to unlink. You have also an access here, as you may have seen, to, if you want to move a bit, okay, the target directly. Some light have different options, like this one. You can select the little geometry on the side if you want to affect a bit. Okay. What to tell you? Yes, you know pretty everything. Of course, you have settings which are the same than the attribute editor. Okay, when I move something here, that move here, so the same settings than here, but with a quick access. So you can have full screen Maya with just your LightIt here and necessary attribute for you. The great thing is that it's multiple camera. If I select 1, 2, 3 and say, okay, I want all to be into 333 value, that affects all my lights, okay, which is great and simple, just with viewport. Intensity, exposure, spread, temperature, and simple. Here you have this, and when you click on the icon before the name, that will reset the selected light to the default value. You see, exposure, spread, everything will be reset to default value. It's a quick access. Okay, and last thing is to highlight from camera. In case you have your framing and you can have one light into your framing, it's not ideal, but you can just hide it. That will, the light effect will continue to work, but you just hide from camera. You have to know that LightIt components are pretty complex. You have the LightIt master component, which contain all elements from your LightIt. You have the backdrop, the light, everything is stored and correctly organized here. For example, let's take one light. Yes, this one. Look, there is all of that into the light. A lot of things happen in order that works correctly. So don't rename, don't touch anything that will break the lighting works. And I show you that because I want, it's pretty sensitive, so don't do fancy or tricky things other than the one dedicated by the script. And also don't delete the light directly with delete keyword. Okay, when you want to remove one light from the scene, you select and you use the delete light directly from LightIt. This way, LightIt will know the light disappear and it will clean everything correctly, okay, for the script. So it's a bit complicated, but you have to delete the light here directly to do it in a clean way. You also can select your light, your sky dome. If you look for one element, you can also find it in the outliner. But all is designed to work with the UI and the viewport. Well, so now you know everything about the light, the backdrop. What is the third one? Yes, it's what I call simple light, which means it's all the same, but with more simplest rigs, because those lights don't have aim target. Because like for example, a perfect top light, they need to be perfectly top. So aim is more a problem than an helper. So I remove this. You see there is no the option, but other option are still available. Okay, this one you can, and you can't replace this one also. This one is a LED. I pretty like this one too. Okay, so what I call simple light. As you can see, it's the first release of LightIt, and I will add more elements as soon. Give me feedback, okay? Tell me, oh, I would like to have this light into LightIt, and I will add them for future update. Last, the what's called the composant. Okay, all other composant. We have the reflector, which can seem pretty simple, but it's something, of course, really important in photography, but we never used into CG lighting. Because we have the ease to use an hour light. If each one we want a bit of light, we create an hour light. And we don't think about light bouncing, but try to do things as most as possible like in real life. So in viewport, of course, we don't have indirect lighting, but let's launch Arnold. Okay. You see here, if I want to light a bit the top, instead of use a light, I just can use a reflector that will bounce a bit of light. Of course, you need to go to your render setting and be sure you have some light bouncing. Let's say, okay, 2. And that will create a smoother and more realistic effect without adding any extra light. You see, it's way smoother and better. So yes, it's why I add that. I think it's really important. Of course, here you have the classic gray and crumble. Well, I import a model into my scene. Let's say I would like to create quickly a turntable. We have the Turntable component for that. So I just click on it, that import it, which is selected. I then select my model. So be sure to select the entire model. Okay. And click onto parents. And now it's automatically set my turntable for me. Of course, I have now some setting. If I'm selected it, I can choose the frame rate, the range. So let's say a bit larger. In linear or Bezier. Linear, which means that will be loop, and Bezier with a smooth fade in and fade out speed. You also can switch the direction on the fly. You want the model to turn. Okay, we have that. instead. Pretty simple and pretty fast to set your turntable. Now, the last things I need is a camera to frame my scene. So for that, you have this icon to create a LightIt camera. Automatically, I will be into the camera. I will come in. I have the framing here. So my camera is here. A lot of options for the camera. First, the camera viewport scale. I like to see where is my camera into the scene. The camera have by default is a simple camera, but you can switch it to M mode camera with also a target. So let's say I want to target the head of my character. I select my camera, and yes, it's easier. If I want to select my M, I have this little icon to find it. Great. One great thing I like in Unreal Engine is pop-up windows to do my framing by selecting my camera, in the scene. For that, I have the camera preview windows. I click on it. I can switch the light if I want into this scene too. Yes. You put your framing here, and now you can place or animate your camera. You see it's pretty way more, even better than be in the camera directly. I put here, I put the locator. Okay, select my camera. Same thing, if you lose the camera, just select it by the camera, the icon. Do your framing. You have the focal length with some generic presets. Okay, I'm happy with that. You have the speed movement. Speed movement is when you are into the camera. So you can look through the camera directly here. I will close that. And by default, you have a specific speed, but you can decrease the speed. And now the the movement of your camera is way slowed and more precise, by the way. It's one feature I like a lot because framing is difficult to be precise by the default value. It's too speed. You see the air on the top. So I slow down and now not to 0. Okay, and now it's way easier to frame perfectly what I want. Okay. I think you have all. Depth of field, to set your Arnold depth of field. You click, that will create for you a focus distance target. You can select it directly. So you will snap this target, let's say on the height of my character, and that will give you automatically the focus distance. So don't worry that don't update here on LightIt attribute. Maybe just select again the camera to update, but that will find you the perfect focus distance. Set the aperture on off, and you have your depth of field. Okay, I will just come here. Okay, and my depth of field is just on off quick access. If I just snap into the light, you see now the light is focused. Well, let's now have a look about the library panel. For both XR and HDRI, there is LightIt and user subtab. LightIt is just some preset send you with LightIt, okay, already made and ready to use for you, and user is where you will be able to save your one. You have the name of the item here on the bottom, and you can adjust the size of the display. To create your custom one, I know it's not the best UI choice, but for some scripting and technical reason, I was not able to put it here. Okay, so it's not great, I know, but the button for create your custom one is here. But before to go here, let's look at what we can do. You can right click, you have the name again here. You can open, let's say, preview image, and you will have best resolution one and some information about it. You can add to favorite for the fourth tab here, where all your favorite will be had. You can add Alexa and anything, of course, and that will be here. What we can do then, open the folder that will directly access to the asset. One more time, that store by default into the LightIt library folder in the script installation. You can go here manually, go to LightIt, and all is saved here. For example, I can go here, and it's composed into one image, the file save, the scene save, and the texture file or HDRI, any. If you want to do some modification, you can rename. Rename is great because that can help you to organize the sorting of the item. Well, pretty simple. Let's start, for example, with XR1. There is also a way to apply. For example, for EXR, you have to select one area light to apply it because, of course, it's not a geometry component. So you can select one from LightIt directly, or of course, you can also apply it to any Arnold area light by default. If I'm selecting this one, let's say I want something like this, and you will have it applied to your light. Of course, it's not ideal here because I put one circle one on a square, but it's a little limitation. By hiding, that will be better if you put on a circle component. Well, about HDRI, we already saw it. Pretty simple, just click to import. And best thing is, look how the viewport match the renderer. Especially in the reflection here, it's pretty powerful. And yeah, just click to import. And go to Workspace to change any attributes. Okay, I will now show you how to create your R1. So yes, click on this plus button. It will ask you what you want to create, XR, HDRI, or lighting. Let's take a look at HDRI. It's the same for XR. You say create. So yes, you have a little note that tell you that it will force to open the template scene. So be sure if you already have a scene open to save it, to don't lose your rocks. Okay, so HDRI patch, of course. So locate one HDRI. Okay, I choose an exterior one. It will automatically put me the name of the file, but of course you can change it to what you want. Here, what I advise you is to do it with Arnold render view open, because this way you can launch it and set your thumbnail and HDRI setting. The rotation is just to set the way you want the thumbnail to be saved. For example, you can say, okay, to compare my HDRI, I always want the light direction to be on the front. So on each, this way you can have all your HDRI set with the same shadow catch to compare them. But this information is not saved on the file, it's just for visualization here. And you have the intensity. The intensity will be saved on the file. Why? Because you know you can grab HDRI from different places and not all of them will be calibrated equally. So this way you can adjust to say, okay, this one is a bit too dark, I will set to 2. And when you will import into your scene, it will always set into 2 intensity by default. You then can keep user patch option be check. If you uncheck that, that means LightIt will select your HDRI you put in the patch here and copy it into the LightIt library. So basically what we saw, it will put your file here at this patch. But in the case you want to keep, let's say, in another place in your computer where you saved your HDRI and don't want to copy it into LightIt, you just say, okay, keep my patch where it is, and it will keep it the link here. Then before to create, when you create, it will use Arnold, a batch render in the background. So to don't have two instances of Arnold rendering, be sure to stop your preview here, and then you can create your HDRI. You will have to wait in order to Arnold render your thumbnail. Once it's done, you have the little pop-up that it's add. It will not appear directly. You can create other one. If you want to see it into your user patch, you have to close and relaunch manually LightIt, and all your creation will be into user. About lighting, it's a bit the same. Let's say, for example, yes, we can keep this scene, for example. I want to, the HDRI, I want to create, you can use a LightIt scene, or you can even create, works with, I don't know, Arnold light. Let's say I want a big blue light. So it's pretty ugly, of course, but it's for the demonstration. Okay, so you like your lighting setting and you want to ask LightIt to save it for you. I want to save my HDRI and this area light. So you select all your light you want to save. And then you go here, you select lighting, create lighting. You just have to put a name. Okay, and same thing, you hit save lighting. Here I use the HDRI template scene, but of course that works on any scene. You can use light rigs, anything. You just select the component, the backdrop, the light, anything you want to save, and you click OK, save my lighting setup. Okay, all the same, lighting add. I want to have a look. I will close everything. There is a special scene with a glass metallic to show your scene in, and here is my setup saved. Now if I click on it, that will import back my lighting to works on my other project. Well guys, I really hope you will like LightIt. I can't wait for your feedback, idea, and of course your render. I want to see your render, so post on the LightIt channel your works using LightIt. I really can't wait to see it. I worked about 5 months on this script, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. Thank you, bye bye.